Hello, and welcome to another fun and exciting episode of the Moose Hunt Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Richards, and on today's episode, I'm going to be sitting down with OMM guides and team members Dana Valleau, Ken Mayo, Tom Hamilton, as well as owner of OMM Outfitters, Nathan Theriault. This episode was recorded during the middle of the 2022 October Maine cow moose hunt and is an overall recap of the October 2022 hunting season for moose in Maine. We'll go over details of the October 2022 bull hunt, as well as what we're seeing during the cow hunt underway at the time of the recording of this episode. The team shares observations of new trends in moose hunting, challenges seen during the season, exciting stories of success, and quite a few laughs along the way. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. This is the Moose Hunt Podcast. All right, folks, welcome to another episode of the Moose Hunt Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Chris Richards, coming to you tonight from beautiful Eagle Lake, Maine. And I'm joined tonight by actually a large group of our guides here and the crew here at OMM, Mr. Nathan Theriault, Ken Mayo, Dana Valleau, and the most serious of us all, Mr. Tom Hamilton.
Yeah.
And we're shooting this right in the middle of the cow hunt, and we got a train going by in the background. Kenny, you want to shut the door?
Hey, it's Eagle Lake.
Welcome
That's
to Eagle
perspective.
Lake.
That gives you perspective. But we're coming from the middle of the cow hunt here up in northern Maine. We've wrapped up the second bull season. We're wrapping up cow season, so kind of the end of the 2022 moose hunt is here. And so we're kind of just getting together tonight for a conversation about how the October season went, what we saw out there, some, just observations. It was a great week. There were some challenges with it, but certainly it's something, we were blessed to be in the woods again, kind of doing what we love to do. And, we look forward to doing this every year, and we'll wrap the cow hunt up here soon, and then the preparation will start once again for next year.
Yep.
So kind of to jump right in, we're going to start with Nathan, because Nate, you kind of got back in the game a little more this year. And kind of what did you see, in your time out there looking at the week, the weather, things you saw?
Yeah. I got off the bench. Felt good.
Yeah, you were psyched.
I was excited about it.
Yeah.
Needs to happen more often. No, it was the first 3 days, just had some, epic first couple hours, frost in the morning. And,
Right.
And then, but faced with the challenges of swirling winds more than ever. So trying to make moves on them because you had the conditions and it was cold, yet we were having swirling winds was definitely a challenge. I got on a hunt on Wednesday, and we got to a piece that I'd been seeing a decent bull in, and had Troy with us helping, had him 30 yards behind me, and of course when you get to the spot, this guy hadn't moose hunted before, so first thing I observed was a jacket that might as well have been a trash bag.
Classic.
So I kind of was picking things apart, and of course talking to him on the ride, if he'd been hunting before, and what to expect and things to consider. And the original place I was actually going to take him, I had driven by, it looked really good, so I started. Tommy was like, "You're going in tomorrow." So I started jumping on Google Earth and Onyx and my Wind Finder app, and kind of put together a good hunt. And Tommy met me out there with the guys. They jumped in. Troy's following behind, and we get to the spot, and just as I'm about ready to get to the intersection, a truck pulls up and stops. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Someone beat you in there?
Yeah. I didn't tell you that.
No.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that. Classic.
So I roll up beside him, and I roll down the window. I'm like, are you guys just stopping here? And he's like, well, we were going to call. I'm like, from like right here? And he's like, yeah. But we might walk up the road too. I was like, okay, good luck. So I turned around, and I pull up to Troy, and Troy goes, are they hunting here? I'm like, yeah, they're going to call. He's like, from right there? I'm like, yeah, from right there. Well, they might walk up the road. And, you know, God bless them. Hey,
Yeah,
you know, if that's
yeah.
what you do it. And so he goes, what are you going to do now? And I'm like, you don't have to be quiet. I'm in the truck with the guys right now. Follow me. So we go to the spot at, you know, just kind of a fluke spot, really. I'd seen a bull there, but a long time ago. And I pull into the spot. The wind wasn't perfect, but it was calm. And there's like an old road that kind of followed the back of this cut, and there were some strips that kind of came down. Couldn't even really make out the strips. Probably like 5-year-old growth, I'd say. 6-year-old. I don't know. How old is that stuff in Double Trouble on the left when you're driving in there?
Longer than that.
Yeah.
Probably 8 years.
First cut when I
Yeah.
got here 8 7 or years 10. ago.
Yeah, it's actually grown up quite a bit. But they were in there. And obviously. So we pull up to the spot. I put the truck in park. The doors unlock. I push the lock button. And I go, the guys go for the door handle. Both of them at the same time, nothing. I was like, all right, you take your jacket off. Put it in the back seat. I'm like, anything you guys need to do that makes noise, do it now. Because when I push the unlock button, there is no sound whatsoever. Because they could be like right here.
Right.
So they got all their stuff together.
Coughing and
Yeah.
clear your throat.
Sneezing,
Get your cough
get
drops
your-
in your mouth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bullets out.
Yeah. The jingle jangle was over. So we get out of the vehicle and you know, it's been a little while for me, so I kind of had to figure everything out again, honestly. What do I need here? I pretty much forgot everything. Just grabbed the scapula. That was it. So, start heading down. Actually, Kenny, the old Double Trouble bait.
Yeah.
You know, like all the way down to it.
All the way down at the bottom.
To the bottom at the end of the road, and it kind of goes in the like spruce patch, you know.
Yep.
It was pretty nice in there. Well, that's what I remember when you and I
should
were in
be
there.
now, yeah.
I didn't like it, so we turned.
Classic.
We
Walked all the way.
we walked all the way back to the truck. I'm like, we're going right in behind the truck. And I'm looking at alder bushes and raspberry bushes, and I'm like,
Burdocks.
screw it. Oh, yeah. I'm like, we're going right through it. 4 people. So when all the crashing and smashing and everything else got done, and we were kind of in there about 40 yards or so, I said, well, we made enough noise at this point. I might as well just start. So I was doing short cow calls with tending grunts. And obviously we're moving, so tending grunts being the cow was moving and feeding through, and the bull was kind of following her. And Troy's about 30 yards behind me, and every time we'd go about 15 yards and stop, Troy would start stripping leaves and breaking branches. We got about 75 yards in, and I thought I heard a grunt. And I looked back at Troy, and I'm like, did you hear a grunt? Like, you know, just motioning to him. And he did. Oh, I got pumped up. I mean, I'm not going to lie, like, it's been a while. It was exciting. So, I started to do another series of kind of a little more excited cow call. and that just set him right off, and he was coming. So I set the permittee up kind of beside me, and the sub about, another tree on the other side of the Twitch trail, probably 10 feet away or so, a little bit of a different vantage point. And bull was coming. So I start tickling again because he's coming to the cow, and I wanted him because I wasn't sure about the wind, so I wanted to take that out of the equation. So I started to rake a little bit, and he started to answer me. I'm like, oh, this is perfect. Well, I look back at the permittee, and he's like, he could not get set up on this tree for a rest. He's like on one side of the tree, on the other side of the tree. He's like up and down, like, and he's moving really fast. And I'm like, dude, you gotta just move slow, or just don't move.
just pick your spot. And wait.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah.
So, anyways, the bull comes in. He's about 25 yards, and I look back at him, and I said, when he's going to turn, I said, when you feel comfortable, I'm like, take the shot. So I'd kind of moved off to the left a little bit so I could stay kind of low under some raspberry whips and stuff and not be seen, but stuck my scap up there every now and then, light raked, and he would do the same. Finally, the shot goes off, and bull kind of turns to walk away, and got hit. So I raked again. He turns. He starts coming back in. Gets to about 20 yards now, and the sub's there, and I'm just like, let him have it. And they did. And that was it. That was it. It was a nice bull. It was a great hunt. It was just a fun time. Great to be back out there. And
Yeah. It was good to see you out there.
yeah.
You know?
It was good to be back out there with you guys.
Yeah, back in the game.
I'm not going to lie. I'm probably going to want to do more of that.
Yeah, that was great. It was great. One thing I noticed this week, I did a lot of walking.
Yeah, me too.
How many miles did you walk on?
I don't know, 30.
Stay tuned, folks, while we take a brief break for a word from our sponsors.
If you're looking for a world-class destination to go after big game or small game, look no further than OMM Outfitters. I'm Nathan Theriault with OMM Outfitters, and we encourage you to take a look at what we have to offer. Please visit our website at www.ommoutfitters.com and see what our professional staff has to offer and how we can create memories of a lifetime.
And now, let's get back to the podcast.
35 maybe, at least. And my guy went home on Thursday night, so think about that.
Right.
We put in a lot of miles.
Yep.
It was a pretty hard week for us.
Yeah.
Like Nathan said, it was cold in the mornings, but first morning we get to our spot, same as Nathan. There's a truck parked there blocking the road. I didn't even stop. I just drove by him, went up to another spot that I know right up the road, and we ended up hunting that. But wind swirling, like Nate talked about, it was tough. No answers at all. We didn't get an answer from a bull until Tuesday night. So we went 2 whole days without hearing anything, and then finally Tuesday night we called in a small bull that we passed, and then it stayed pretty tough. Mm-hmm. It started getting warmer and warmer, wind still swirling. Ended up Thursday night, we had one going, cow and a bull together. Cow lit right up. I called back, she lit right up. We went in after her, got the wind right, started racking. He started racking back at us. Coming, they were 60 yards, and the wind hit me in the back of the head, and that was it. Shut right up, and it was over. And my client had to leave in the morning, so we didn't get a bull, but it was a good hunt. He had a lot of fun, and his son was with him, so they enjoyed the time together and had a lot of fun. So it was really good.
That's awesome.
That was probably his 6th or 7th hunt.
Yeah, he told me he'd killed 11 moose, so he's not going to shoot a small bull. He wants a monster or nothing. So
Tommy killed a smasher with him
4 years ago.
4 or 5 years ago, we found the shed to that bull.
No kidding, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a beautiful bull. Beautiful bull.
He's got 4 boys.
Yeah,
They've all been moose hunting. All got bears.
they've all killed bears. Yeah, including the one this year killed another bear. So
Cool.
yeah, I took him on his first bear hunt, and then I sent our newest guide with him, who I also took on his first bear hunt, and got him his first bear. Together, they got the kid's second bear together. So it was
Nice.
awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, really cool.
That is cool. To have that repeat, presence and stuff.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's
That's
nice
awesome.
when you know them, you got a rapport with them, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's fun.
Yeah.
It's even better watching that family time together in the outdoors.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what it's really all about.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing for me. I was fortunate because I had like father-son, father-daughter both seasons.
Yeah.
And that really does
Yeah.
add a level to it for sure. Dana,
Yeah.
how long was your October moose hunt?
Half an hour probably. Maybe. but speaking of family, that was a family hunt. That was
Right.
My wife had a tag for different zones, zone 8.
Yeah.
And it's a zone I know really well, and I took her scouting Saturday evening and Sunday, and we saw a lot of moose.
Mm-hmm.
And beautiful. It was, like you guys were saying, the conditions were perfect. 26 degrees, frost on everything, no wind, right at first light. And then little breeze picked up, and it was perfect for this spot we were going into. 600-yard walk up into a cut, and there's a moose.
Smoked him.
Smoked it.
Smashed it.
Smashed it.
Smash right. There he is. Smash him.
Get back, I'm going to smash it.
Yeah.
Oh no, and it was that quick. Done.
It was that quick, done.
Yeah. You got to take those when you get them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you look
appreciate
at the
'em.
time you put in.
Right.
It's going to all come together at some point.
Right.
Yeah,
Persistence. You got to be in the woods. And then one of those times it's going to be 75 yards in and it happens, or
you guys
you get to your spot, and there he is.
Right.
all these miles. I'm like, yeah, I didn't even get a workout.
Yeah.
That doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
And it's just her.
Was on my side.
Yeah,
I got the
right?
horseshoe back, I think.
Yeah, but it's just her and I packing out.
Give it over.
Right.
So that
So you got to do that with your wife, quarter and packable.
quarter and packable. Yep.
Wow.
Just the two of you?
Yep. Just the two of us.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What an experience.
Yeah. It was cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
It's something I never thought I'd do, and something she thought she would never do. But she was all about carrying what she could, and she
awesome.
did great. She did great.
You kind of had that. You're going to learn today, right?
Oh yeah. And she's helped us with deer, and
Yeah.
but the moose is
Well, and she attended our seminar.
She did.
So,
She did.
I mean-
She even asked questions at the seminar at the sportsman show.
The best part of that seminar. So, at the Augusta, Maine Sportsman Show. When is it? February? When is it? In the spring?
April 1st.
April 1st,
April
usually.
1st. Yeah.
Yep.
Kenny and Nathan did a seminar on quartering moose, which was really great. And some of us went. And Dana's wife had was like the most engaged student, and I was like, man, she's like grilling them. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I'm like, who brought this person?
And then she drew a tag.
And then she drew a tag.
and got to put it to use.
And got to do it. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Yep. And I had her. She carried the head out.
Did she
and,
take Yeah.
Yep. And I had her twirling and taking pictures of her at different angles with and all that.
Yeah. The most beautiful outfit you've ever seen.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So Kenny,
Yes.
how was your hunt?
So this year, ventured out to a new area, completely new to me and to our team. So it was fun. It's really cool to be able to go into an area that you don't know and just hunt.
Yeah.
Sort of takes takes some of the edge off, I think, a little bit, where you can just go in. But it was successful. Found a great area. We're able to get in there, and right off the bat, there was animals talking. Still finding big breeding pits that stunk, that were active. But the one thing that I did notice, which is pretty typical for our Octobers, is those young bulls seem to get back in their groups.
Yep.
And it's almost at that point, I think of them as a gang, sort of like a gang of Jakes.
Like turkey hunting,
like
for
turkeys,
sure.
I really noticed that this year. And even when I came over here to 3, it was sort of that way too. Where you were going to find one of those smaller bulls, you're going to find multiples.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed to be, once you found those pockets, with the knowledge and experience, you knew there was a hot cow in that area, and knew there was a dominant bull. Somewhere in that area, he was there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a matter of catching up to him. And we heard animals off the bat. We were able to get Captain G in there on one. He was successful right off the bat. But he saw the big one, and he went with the hot cow. He chose the hot cow over fighting, which is a lot of time what we see in October with these big dominant bulls.
Yeah.
It seems to be that point, and especially with those young guns running around, those satellites, those groups, it's just they don't really want to fight unless they absolutely have to. They'd rather chase at that point, if they're going to expend that energy. And
do you think that's because they've already had a knockdown drag out? That's always been my theory.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they asserted it already.
That's what has always been my thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, they just asserted it already. And unless you're really within that range, like we talk about, breaking that seal.
100 yards.
Yep.
100 yards.
Yep. But, and another big thing I noticed this October was these animals, I've heard electronic calls since, bear season. I put it, a lot of these areas.
A lot of electronic calls.
A lot of electronic calls out there.
Loud.
And like Nate referred to, guys just, up and down the roads. It's
And the thing is, they can be great tools.
Absolutely.
No question.
No question.
I've smashed bulls with them historically.
Yep.
But
Smash 'em.
when you play it on loop, like over and over and over.
I always think of the duck marsh where the guy just plays his duck call all morning long.
Yeah.
It's same sort of thing. You're not gonna call ducks that way.
Like to hear it though,
The thing is for the calling, no matter what you're using, whether it's your mouth, electronic call, or reed call, whatever, it still has to sound natural.
No, especially in the same spot. And for our purposes, like how we roll, we don't even want to make a sound of identifying a sex. Basically, we just want to sound like a moose.
Right.
I don't know how many times just snapping a stick, and that sounds like a moose. They don't know whether you're a cow or a bull. Don't identify yourself.
Walking down a gravel road. How many times have you been walking down a gravel road, you get close to a bull?
Yep.
You're like,
Yep.
I guess we're hunting right now.
I can tell you a little story about today.
There you go.
Matter of fact, out there cow hunting today, I walked up a road and there's a small cut on the left. It's all pulled. Everything's pulled from feeding. I got up to the top, turned around, and as I started to walk back, I took 2 steps and I heard crack. It was an antler clunk behind me. The big bull was standing up on that hill and he smacked his antler on a tree to say, "Hey, I'm up here."
Yep.
No doubt in my mind, there was nothing else around. It had to be him.
Absolutely. absolutely. And I mean, that's the key, and that's what we talk about is those noises. And then dual calling. I mean, how many times have we seen success?
What a weapon.
What a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's used right.
Mm-hmm.
Let me
Yeah,
put it.
absolutely.
It's got to be used right. You can't just run through the woods or anything. But when it's used right, I think that's. I mean, we've
That
seen it.
definitely
It's been proven.
works.
It's been proven in September, October for us.
And one thing is you don't need two people to do it either.
That's
you
right.
just
Right.
need to know how to do it with one person.
That's
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
just-
Yeah, that's right. You can do it yourself, but you just know what you're doing on that. But
it's definitely easier with two people.
oh yeah, it helps. I mean, it's amazing to have a second set of ears out there and eyes.
It's fun.
And yeah,
Like,
it's cool.
You're on your little a radio or something.
I think the traditional method is
Yeah.
going away. I think
And it's,
they're smarter.
they're definitely smarter. There's
The
no
numbers
question
are
on
there.
that. The numbers are there.
I mean,
Forestry practices and all that. I mean, people can say what they
habitat's
want,
changing.
but the habitat's changing, and you got to adapt and diversify. And that was the big thing. As I oversaw the crew of all 3 camps we ran, it was okay. It's changed. What do we got to do?
Right.
What are we going to do now? Where are they?
Right.
And once we found that, we saw instant success. So they definitely changed their pattern during the
It was funny because Tommy's like, of course we got Yukon, but I'm not supposed to talk about that.
So anyone who
Podcast,
follows us on social media can see the bull Yukon, and we are excited to say we did harvest him. But the story of that is going to be on a future episode. It's an awesome story. But yeah,
So
moving forward.
as soon as Tommy saw that, he's like, "What'd you do?"
Exactly what did you do?
I didn't have the heart to tell him.
He'll tell you that story later.
But to your point, the dual calling thing, it's actually how I got my moose, my client's bull this year. I was solo when I did it. I'm calling that bull the 25-mile bull.
I love it.
Because we walked 25 miles to get that bull Wednesday afternoon. And
Chris, they make roads, right?
yeah.
You could drive there.
No, I know, but I'm hunting, man. Even the Black Pearl couldn't go where we shot this moose.
I question that.
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh no.
It almost went.
It almost went.
It tried.
After the fact.
It made it to the first culvert, and it sat right there, high centered on its on its front axle. So
Yeah,
the Black Pearl.
With a winch that couldn't reach anything.
So I get my truck stuck, and I kind of take a lot of pride in the guy who will take his truck through anything and get anything out and help the team and never get stuck. And on my own moose, I get my truck stuck. The best part was Troy. He says, I'm like, hey, how much do you care about that truck? He goes, oh, I'm coming in. Don't worry, I'm pulling you out. I'm like, oh, thank God. But we had the same thing. Gorgeous, cold weather. We started out first morning hunt. I hunted the entire Clover Road, the whole thing, and I didn't realize it, but the permittee he'd hurt his back, pretty bad, and was really cool that we really connected on our faith right out of the gate.
Awesome.
So the client's like, hey, do you think we could say a prayer? I'm like, oh, we absolutely can say a prayer. Absolutely. And he was praying for just his physical well-being and to bless his hunt and safety, and so we did the whole Clover Road right out of the gate with a guy with a herniated disc in his back.
Oh.
Which that's a hunt.
Good warm up, Chris.
Good warm up. So we found out right there, are we going to be walking a 6-mile jaunt right out of the gate? And didn't hear a grunt, but we stretched our legs out. Tuesday, we we got into a few moose, walked right up on a bedded cow, did a couple light calf calls. She got up out of her bed, walked into like 15 feet, standing there. It was unbelievable. I haven't seen one do that. A cow do that. From here to that television over there. Staring at us, and she was huge.
Great tactic.
When
Late
she,
season.
When she got up out of her bed, I actually told the shooter, I told her, I was like, when I saw it stand up in the thick spruce, it was larger than I anticipated. I'm like, get your gun ready. Like,
Yeah.
Wow. And it was a huge cow. And then we did another hunt, and that swirling wind, I hunted an area around a cut in a circle and somehow managed to find the wind at my back the entire time. Blowing in all 4 directions
Yep.
the whole time.
Story of my life.
And I'm like, man, oh man. So finally, Wednesday came, and we burned through 2 real cold days. And Wednesday came, it warmed up pretty good midday. And we're sitting by this water pond, this water hole, midday, eating lunch. I had my decoy, Catalina, up in the marsh, doing a few cow calls. Just
The red room.
in the red room. What's your cow's Mona?
Mona.
Yeah. Mona, because she's always moaning.
She's always moaning.
That's right. So mine's Catalina. So Catalina's out there, and we're having lunch, and I'm doing some cow calls in the middle of the day, and I just had this like...
Chris,
I don't
that's Mona with an H too, by the way.
Yes.
A-H.
Of course.
Obviously.
Oh yeah. That's how I've
Just
said
want to
it.
make sure people understand the spelling.
Yes. M-O-A-N-A-H.
A-H.
Mona. So anyways, decided to switch it up and went to this other area, and I don't know, just had a feeling, and had been kind of fighting the south wind, and I knew that would be, I'm like, we can do this hunt, this will work. We got down in there about a mile from the road, and started cow calling off and on a little bit, sitting there, nothing. 45 minutes till dark. I'm like, all right, we got to start really ramping this up. So I'd cow call, and I cleared a path, like in the leaves, so I could move like in the woods. I could really quietly sneak over. So I cow call, sneak over there, and I light this tree up, breaking the shoulder blade. 10 seconds, I hear this bull down below us just start raking. I'm like, oh, finally.
Such a great feeling.
Oh, finally. And the best part was, from where we were, it was actually slightly uphill to where he was, and the wind is right in our face. So you got wind and sinking thermal, because it was cooling down quick.
Mm-hmm.
And he raked, and he grunted twice. I grunted twice back at him, and then he grunted 5 times. Like, whoa, whoa. Waited, raked again, and he went silent. And I'm like, he doesn't like the wind. So I looked at them, and I'm like, we got to push the issue. It's 6 o'clock on the nose at this point. Like, we got 25 minutes of legal shooting left. Like, we got to go. Because in my mind, I'm like, this thing's going to come up around the ridge, around the top, get the wind, and we're never going to shoot him. We're going to run out of daylight. So we get down on the road, and I can't really call it a road, the cleared area you can walk, and just did a couple grunts, held the shoulder blade up, and walked up over this knob, and there he was, standing there, 65, 70 yards maybe, and she got up on her sticks and smoked him.
Nice.
Yeah, smashed him right there. Boy, so it was a great feeling. It was a great feeling. And it was awesome. Next day recovery, the team showed up, found him in like 10 minutes. Great pack out, got my truck stock, added a little adventure to it.
He was definitely dead, but you know, it's always better to just
If
err
you're
on
in
the side
doubt.
of caution.
Yeah, right where we found blood, we didn't find great blood, and we thought Subpermittee and Hunter both shot, and one of the shots was a little back, so I could smell paunch right there, and I'm like, ooh. And I could hear him walking. And so we're just, don't chance it. And we backed out, and we went in the next morning. He was right there. He'd made it 80 yards, laid down. He didn't like that 375 Holland and Holland Magnum too much.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
It reminds me of that, the pans full, pans 3 or 4, I don't know
Whichever
one. But
I think it was the original pan.
yes, I think it was actually.
OG.
Yeah, I think we're on like pan 4.
We're on too many now.
We got to start
We
coming
get
up
a
with
different
better.
name. Yeah.
But boy, that was a tough one to track in there. That's just when Chris said that, I was like, just you know, err on the side of caution.
I would have given anything that day for a tracking dog. I can tell you that. I was the tracking dog, but we found him.
Yeah. When in doubt, just wait. I mean, they're big. The cavities can hold a lot of blood.
Well, they're big, strong animals. I mean,
well, use the light to your benefit, right?
Right.
You know?
It was like Big Dodge though. We obviously Big Dodge because he dodged a bullet, but there was decent blood.
Tracked him too.
Mm-hmm.
Tracked him, and then actually called the tracking dog. Dog couldn't really take the call, but the owner could, and explained it, and they were like, "Bull's alive." It was. We had another one this year. A guy put an arrow in.
Yep.
And Chris, you had pictures of that.
Yeah.
2 weeks after.
I have pictures of it recently. Actually, pulled that trail camera the other day. The bull's ripping around, honky dory.
Yeah.
Alive and well.
Just so everybody knows, the pan bull was during the day. It wasn't at night, or we would have backed out on that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I think the thing that made that tough was all the tracks in that piece of woods.
Yeah, it took us 4 hours to find that bull, to track him down and get to him.
And we had 5 guys in there, 6 guys in there looking for him.
Yeah.
And that was just another whole amazing experience. But
I think to that point, quick to play it safe is the way to go.
Yeah.
When we came up out of there, actually Kenny was waiting for me. And I walk up, I'm like, there's blood, I smell a paunch. I didn't have like a great light with me. I had good light to get out of the woods, but I had like a big light in my truck, and I'm like, it's a mile hike back in there.
Yeah.
And if we'd have bumped him where we bumped him, he was going to run downhill for a long time.
Yep.
And the last thing I wanted was racing down the field through that spruce and fir down into the stream down below. And so we backed out, and it was awesome. And one thing, a perk, it was certainly a sleepless night, I think, for the hunters and me for sure. But I kept replaying it. I'm like, man, oh man, they rocked that thing. And he was right there. And we were able to get good daytime pictures.
Yeah.
So this is the hardest part of being an outfitter. But so Dana's wife, Katie, got a tag, and my wife, Katie, got a tag. And this is going to have relevance for, waiting, which is what we kind of preach. But very tough, obviously, to, be an outfitter and navigate that. But, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We all put in for it, and sometimes those chances turn into a tag. And after 3 years of waiting, I put her in.
And she pulled.
And she pulled again. I'm like, oh my gosh. And she killed a great bull. And we really, the first time not this time, but the first time she drew, she got a really nice bull, 53 inch, came into the call, had her dad there, Steve Dillon, Fox Pro, and all on video. I mean, it was just epic, so, I mean, I just look back at that, but I did get to spend a day hunting with her, and we called in 2 small bulls, had a great time together, and then had to get back to business, and she was out with her dad, and they're driving, and I'm in the woods with the client, no service, and I get this text message when I'm almost out from Chris, call Katie. I'm like, oh God.
I had radioed Chris.
Yes.
Chris was like, I'm like, hey,
I was
you
tagged out.
need to.
You need to tell Nathan to call Katie right now.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And I'm down in, we're going to call it Little Alaska, and it's way in there. So I get back to the truck, and I meet up with Kenny, and I'm just like, we're going to head out, and Katie calls me, and she's like, well, are you going to come look? And I'm like, yeah, got an hour. So she tells me where it is. Kenny knows that spot better than I do. He's like, I'm coming too. So we get there. So the story goes, so she's with her dad. They don't really know, what to do or how to play it. And there's this bull standing in the cut, and they pulled up and jump out, set the sticks up, and it's a long shot. She knew it. And it was a wide open shot. About a mid-40s, high 40s bull, nice pans. And yes, I did get a...
Stay tuned, folks, while we take a brief break for a word from our sponsors.
Eagle Lake Sporting Camps have been around since the 1890s. The camps sit on a 23,000-acre state reserve, surrounded by forest, loaded with wildlife. Cabins are rustic, bathroom, shower, full bar, great food. If it has to do with outdoors, hiking, biking, camping, hunting, fishing, we can do it. All I can say is, if you're looking to get away, Eagle Lake Sporting Camps has what you're looking for.
To learn more about the Eagle Lake Sporting Camps, please visit eaglelakesportingcamps.com. And now, let's get back to the podcast.
Look at it eventually, so I'll get into that. But they jump out of the truck, get the stick set up. Katie's like, get on the radio and see if we can get one of the guys over here. So she's on the radio for like 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
I think she got a hold of you.
She got a hold of me, but I was up in the red room.
Long ways away.
GP talked to me when Katie was on the sticks.
And I was like,
and I'm like trying to get a hold of everybody else.
I'm what, an hour away? Like, easy.
I can tell you right now, if my radio had gone off and I heard it, you would have heard my truck coming from about 6 miles away.
You weren't that far.
I would have been there. I was out of the truck. I didn't hear it.
So she's like, it's a little far. Next thing you know, she hears GP rummaging around the truck, and all of a sudden he's blaring an electronic call. And he's got his hearing aids and he can't really hear. She's like, all you're doing is drawing his attention. He's not coming. He's just staring at us. He's not coming in. He knows we're here. You can't call this bull in. He's looking at the truck, at us. Of course he can't hear. He's just playing as loud as he can play it. So finally,
smash.
Anyways, so she fires 3 rounds or so, and kind of alludes to him kind of like dropping a little bit, and might have been a hit. Kenny and I get there, we get in there, just a little bit of blood. I mean, it was like if there was a 2 ounces of blood, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. And the big thing was there was no drip. There was nothing where you could see or even where it ran down. So it was that one spot.
Yeah.
And then instantly dried up.
Mm-hmm. So we're kind of in a hurry. We're, ready to get back and, just going to do a hasty search here, see if we can see, where it is, and maybe come back in the morning with one of the crew had a tracking dog, so we were planning on that. Because we couldn't come up with any blood. It was all blood. The cut it was in, It was just really hard to tell. Anyways, we get back to the back of the cut because that's where we could actually start to see maybe some blood, some sign. We met up, and I looked at you, and I was like, "Geez, this is where I'd bed down."
Yeah, we both knew it.
It was like
we both knew it when we looked at each other, like, uh-oh.
And we were like ready to just, throw the towel for the afternoon and just come back in the morning. Kenny's kind of ventured back to the cut, and there's this like little strip in between everything. I'm like, I'm just gonna keep walking. I literally went 50 yards, and there's the bull, bum leg, right in front of me, and all I could throw was my Leatherman. I probably couldn't hit it.
All the blades sticking out.
Yeah.
No gun. I mean, what was I thinking? I mean, rookie.
Been out of it for a while.
20-year rookie.
Terrible. Anyways, we went back in the next morning with a tracking dog. Couldn't come up with anything, just dead ends. And then went back in when we had 4 or 5 guys.
Grid searched, nothing. Yeah, we were ready, but I mean, I think it was a shoulder hit. Looking back on it, and it just didn't penetrate. And Nate talked about it earlier with the bow shot. Same thing. A lot of people take that front shoulder for granted. That scap, that's a pretty good sized bone right there. Yeah. And the big thing is the ridge running down it.
Yeah.
If you hit that with, you're not going to break it. That's
especially
the thing.
at 300 yards.
Exactly. So, so after that, I was able to hook up with Chris that evening, and when he told me the situation with his clients, it was just, an immediate reaction at that point. You knew it was, okay, we're going to let this bull sit overnight, and it just reiterated, like, if you're not sure of it and it's at last light, just back out. Mm-hmm. Daylight's a great thing.
Yes,
and the big thing is when you start fresh in that morning, you got the whole day. Right. You got the whole day to get that animal out, to keep tracking it, do what you need to do.
Amen.
But, that's the big thing is your terrain, like you referred to, Chris. You knew if you bumped that bull where he was going and what that would have done to the hunt, and try and extract that animal the next day, mm-hmm. Or say he walked up and down that river or whatever, knowing the terrain you're hunting and the situation you're in.
Yeah, so needless to say, she's pretty bummed out, but she had a great hunt. She got to spend some time with her dad. And,
that's pretty cool.
That's, other than... wounding an animal, which obviously is every hunter's worst scenario, but it's going to happen. If you're a hunter, it's going to happen. But she had a great hunt.
One thing too, when I think about lessons, and we talk about this always, when we do these hunter meetings, before these hunts kick off, always touch on this, and actually, this happened. If anyone's never moose hunted before, moose will be very susceptible to spinal nicking, barely hitting one in a vertebrae or shooting one in an antler and dropping them. Yep. You hear that all the time. Someone shot a moose in the antler, thing flattened, and then it got up and ran away. Mm-hmm. And so we always really tell people, if you shoot a bull and you just drop it in its tracks,
smash him again.
Yeah.
But
get ready.
Be ready.
Be ready.
Reload your rifle and be ready.
Be ready.
I always tell them, keep it on them.
Yeah.
Keep it on them. Don't take it off.
Especially when you're walking up. Holy moly.
So she shoots the bull, and he was kind of on a bank, and there's some 4 foot tall, tall grass right there in that little yard. The moose rolls, drops him. Saw his feet come up above the grass. He's out of sight. And I said to him, you need to walk right in front of me. Remember what we talked about in the hunter meeting? Walk, be ready. 4 seconds later, stands right up, looking at us. And we were ready for it and able to make it happen. That would have been a fatal hit. That bullet hit the spine, fragmented, and actually went across the far side lung. That would have been a fatal shot, but that bull stood up like he was fine. looked back at us, and they were ready for it. So I think that's kind of a lesson for people. If you go moose hunting and you happen to just lights out one, I mean, you might have, don't get me wrong, but be ready, because those spinal shots can be funky. And unless you hit one square through the spine, sometimes they will get up.
You never know.
Right.
You never know.
Ever.
No.
But we're in the middle of the cow week.
Yep.
Tom, how's your cow week going?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
We shot one yesterday afternoon.
Yep.
Down and over with.
Yep.
We call her Peekaboo.
Peekaboo?
She was hiding behind a tree, peeking at us.
Peeking around the tree.
She thought she was hiding. She stood there for probably 2 minutes, just standing there. All you could see was her head and her rear end on the other side of the tree, looking at us. She just stood there and stood there and stood there. And finally, as I talked him through it, I'm like, just keep your gun on her. She's going to take a step. Just wait. Finally, she stepped forward, and he had the hump in the shoulder. I said, you see it? Yep. Take her. One shot, and she spun around and fell dead.
Awesome.
It was really good. 100 yards down through the brush, so good shot.
Awesome.
Good hunt. Yep.
The way it's supposed to be. Dana's, Kenny, going out in the morning?
Absolutely.
Yep.
It was close today.
Yep, we're in the moose.
Yeah.
We're in 'em. But another great thing about the cow hunt is late season scouting.
Oh, I found some spots that are going to be killer next year.
It's good. I mean, you can see what's...
Seen some big
We've
bulls.
seen some big bulls.
Yeah. And another thing is the leaves are off and their trails. I mean, when they use in September.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's totally different.
Like, one thing I'll tell you, was the foliage this year awesome?
Oh, great.
Like, it was
Spectacular.
spectacular.
It was great.
But lush.
Yeah.
Lots of rain up here.
And the rain and
But the forest was
I
a
found
jungle.
raspberries today. Red raspberries that were edible.
Did you eat them?
Well, of course.
You just said they were edible.
I don't mean they ate them.
That must have been a second crop.
But, for the frost we've had, I mean, I'm still seeing flowers.
Yeah.
Don't tell the bears.
It took a long time for us to get the first frost. I remember frost in July was the earliest I've ever seen a frost.
Wow.
No kidding, huh?
Yeah, I mean, the leaves stayed on so late this year. It was tough.
We are in the Arctic North. I mean, come on.
But no, I can't believe, like, the difference in the woods.
Yeah.
You go into some of these spots this week, and it's like, oh my God, you can see that far down through there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the crazy part this year is this is the only corner of the state that got rain.
Right.
The rest of the state's
True.
in a drought.
Right.
Here, this is the highest I've ever seen the lake.
Oh.
Ever.
Huge.
7
water.
years, I've never seen it that high.
Huge water year. There's
Last
water
year-
everywhere.
Last year, it was the lowest I've ever seen.
Right. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Look
drought.
at the leaders on the plantation spruce.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
They're like 3-4 feet long, some of them.
Yeah.
A great growing year.
Insane. I did notice that.
Yeah.
I went up in the red room, pulled cameras. I hunted that October week, and there was an area I walked through, getting in and out of there, that was just like grassy. When I came out through there last night, the water was halfway up my lacrosse boots. Like
Oh yeah, there's
Huge
water
vernal
everywhere.
pools out there.
like
right
9
now.
inches of water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, where did that come from?
Uh-huh.
Did it just rain every day since I left?
Pretty much.
Yeah,
We got
we had-
5 inches of rain in the last week and a half.
Yeah, we got pounded there
It's
for a
wild.
couple days.
Crazy.
No kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Sunk a few boats and
Making memories.
oh yeah, it's always an adventure.
Right? No, absolutely. Well, I think, it's awesome to have this episode, I think, kind of cap off moose season. And we got a couple cow hunts left, but we'll be wrapping it up. Then there'll be a break on to deer season a bit. But we're looking forward to the winter. We'll have a bunch of the Hall of Fame bull stories. We're going to get into those. Some stories of Big Dodge and some other big bulls we killed over the year. The Pan Bull. So we'll have specific guides on these big, bulls that we've had on social media, sharing those stories through the off season a bit here.
Talking about some of the bulls that we are on.
The bulls we're on, bulls we found,
Off-season scouting.
the off season scouting. So we're gonna, even though
Excited.
moose season's wrapped up, we're gonna be talking moose the whole time. And
Shed hunting.
the shed hunt.
Dana and I saw 2 target bulls yesterday.
I want to see the video.
He's big, dude. Trust me. He was standing 30 yards from me looking at me. He's
Has
a
to-
monster.
Yeah,
We'll
has
get
to
some
be.
pictures of him.
The other one, you
We've
could
got
see
him.
the antlers on him 1,000 yards away, up on a hillside.
Yeah, he was a giant too. I could see him walking behind the
You
cow.
could see,
He
you
was
know,
And
Really?
yeah.
new
Oh, yeah.
targets for next year.
You see the dark black body and
Just the plywood.
the plywood
Wow.
sheets over his head.
1,000 yards, and I could see him pretty well.
$100 a board right there.
Advantech.
Advantech, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully we'll find him this winter.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah, absolutely.
Let me just cap this real quick though. I mean, it was an amazing effort by everybody. And one thing that I saw for the October week was, I mean, number one, the teamwork and everyone working together, and just such a well-oiled machine. Obviously, everything we do to prepare for the training, everything, you know, but definitely God came through a lot.
Oh,
Always does.
Guided our steps, our path, and definitely would say that a lot of the success came from that for sure, especially for me, because, you know, I was walking in, you know, coming off the bench, I'm rusty, and, you know.
Could hear him squeaking from a mile away.
Asking us if we have flagging tape.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
Avalon blades.
Avalon.
Has anyone
Where's my
got any
game
knife
bag?
blades?
Frame, game bags.
couldn't find his game bags. You know,
Thank God Troy was there.
Yeah. Did anyone bring any game bags? No.
It was a great week, though.
It was. It was. It was
A lot
an
of
awesome
fun.
week.
Great.
Great hunters. Great guy. People in camp. Yeah. It was a great year. It's been a great year, and
Definitely.
we're excited for the next one.
Absolutely.
Can't wait.
So, well, guys, thank you for jumping on the podcast once again. To all the listeners out there, thank you as always for tuning in. Always looking to be entertaining and educational. I think this one certainly was. So, be well, take care, God bless.